Welcome to Peace Freaks, a parenting and family podcast for the freaks, geeks, nerds, and weirdos, the outcasts who went on and had their own. We're used to being the exception to the rule, so come along with us as we try to also live exceptionally. We're here to help make you the best version of your freaky family. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 125. Peace Freaks. I am Nikki P, here as always with my lovely wife and co-host, Lizzie. How you doing there, babe?
Not too shabby.
Should we start with apologies for being buttheads about all these episodes being so late?
I mean, we could.
Do you think we have to?
Sorry. No, probably not, but...
Yeah, we're deep in the thick of peak season. I'm putting out crazy content anyway, so...
Yeah.
If the episodes are a little late, I'm sorry. Got a lot of them piling up on my end, and editing is just such a pain in the butt these days. I don't know why I'm so meticulous, but I am.
Well, I think it sounds good when you edit them, so, just try to give you guys a better product. We'll say it that way.
I will take her word for it. I just try and get through the thing, get through it all. So let's get things rolling by starting out the way we start out every episode. What have we been reading?
Oh, boy. Well, I read, I think it's Peter Wimsey book number 11, The Nine Tailors, which is actually like a play on words. It's a fun book. I very much enjoyed reading it. It's weird, but I liked it.
The more she tells me about these books, the more glad I am that I don't have to read them.
I know, it's not your thing, but I like the 1920s mystery vibe, British. It works for me, so.
He just happens to stop off at a church and he has a flat tire and decides to help him out and be an altar boy or whatever the hell it was.
Bell ringer, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got? Is that it? It's been a while.
I mean, I read Laura Vanderkam's 168 Hours. You have more time than you think, which...
What is the 168 hours significant of?
It's actually the number of hours in a week.
Seems a low ball.
I spent a couple of weeks actually trying to track my hours, which was difficult because those 2 weeks were crazy.
No, she's got like a brain like a shrimp. It's constantly all over the place.
I do. My brain is kind of constantly all over the place. But, it was interesting to see kind of where my time goes to a certain extent and be able to think more about that. So
somehow I'm always in the middle of washing dishes in the middle of everything.
Yeah, there is that.
Like I start something and then I wash dishes.
Right. And then that thing takes like twice as long as it probably should have taken because I spent half of that time washing dishes. I think the moral of that story is I just need a dishwasher.
We had one. The fact that you're not using her is not my problem.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what my parents always said.
That was one of your parents' lines. Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, theirs was we had 4.
You had 4 dishwashers. Fair enough.
So,
yeah.
On my end, actually had 2 series that I've been working. I've been working on the Johannes Cabal series by Jonathan L. Howard, which has definitely grown on me the more I've read it.
Nice.
I'm actually done with all of the books that are currently available for it.
Oh.
The Fall of the House of Cabal, which was fun. They bring back his brother and they bring back some other characters from previous books, and they go on a little quest to find basically the Fountain of Youth, I think is what it is.
Okay. It's always a popular goal.
And it's not necessarily what they find, though.
Oh, okay. Intrigue.
But it was my first experience with what is my favorite character in the book, and I wish they would just make a whole bunch of books of Johannes Cabal and this devil from the hell that he takes on this quest with him, which is a half spider, half woman demon that just likes to have sex and kill things. Sometimes at the same time, usually at the same time.
You would expect, I suppose.
My kind of book.
I guess.
The other one in the Cabal series was Johannes Cabal and the Blustery Day, which is just a collection of short stories, like things that kind of fill in the blanks.
Okay.
He actually mentioned that the character was never actually meant to be books. It was always meant to be short stories.
Interesting.
Which is probably why that first one felt a little hard to get through, because it was trying to probably flesh out a little bit too much something that was never intended to be that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And it maybe took him time to develop the character enough to do that. So it's fine. I've also gone back and finished up the James Lovegrove installments of the Firefly book series with The Magnificent Nine.
Okay.
And The Ghost Machine.
Yeah, that one sounded really rough from what you were saying.
Ghost Machine is pretty brutal. Like, it's just literally like they bring a machine on board And eventually it ends up being River jumping through everyone's dreams. But like there's like the dreams start by being like everything. Like, they start giving you everything you've ever wanted. Like it's like your ultimate happy place, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then they proceed to destroy you karmically and make you take everything from you. It's, let's just say, it's pretty damn brutal.
Yeah, it sounds rough.
But it did make for a good story. Though I think some of the work, like literally, like the machine would like kill your family members and stuff. Like so, it'd bring you back in a world where your dad was still alive.
Yeah.
And like you'd get to do all the things you ever wanted with him.
Right.
But then like brutally murder him in front of you and make it your fault.
Yeah. Yeesh.
Yeah, that kind of awful stuff.
Yeah, none of that sounds worth it.
We made for an interesting episode of Firefly, needless to say.
I mean, that's sci-fi for you, I guess.
So, folks, if you have a parenting story you want to share on one of our episodes, a product or service that other families might appreciate, or if you just want to get a hold of us on social media, head us up at peacefreaks@nickmccone.com. Also, if there's a topic you want to hear about, something you want to ask us, you can always ask. I should probably make mention of this. I do actually have a phone number specifically for us now.
Oh, yeah. That seems like a useful thing to mention.
You can contact us at 216-232-6083. And I'll listen to voicemails on there, and maybe that's easier for you than to send an email. I don't know.
Interesting.
Anyways, so today's topic is something, let's just listen to the song and get into it.
Okay.
But if you had to go now, where would you choose, huh? Where would you choose? Where would you choose? Land of the free or scapegoats and sheep? We spent 50,000 a year for each in the clink. I said land of the free or scapegoats and sheep? We spent 50,000 a year for each in the clink. It's restitution over persecution, that's a solution. But today's politicians make it more confusing. 3 felonies a day by the average person. Still wonder why there's an overpopulation in the prison system, persecuting crimes when there is no victim. Parents doing time, separating children, perpetuating crime to a future generation. Still the general perception, we are the freest nation. And if you believe that, I got a kingdom for sale. They make you prove your innocence and assume your guilt. Held until convicted unless you make bail. That's the type of nonsense to make a nation will.
He's a first-time offender, no violence at all. The
All right,
government
so despite the fact that we've been
warrantless
teasing
surveillance,
getting
and
to talking
98%
about
of
your
people
self-esteem
who
story,
typically do.
and I promise we are getting to it. I have started notes and stuff for it, but Lizzie's been a little frazzled as of late, working a million hours.
It's a thing.
It is a thing, and we've done better than in previous years by a long shot, but still not perfect. There's just, I think a lot of it is we prepare ourselves for maybe the normal peak season.
Right. And then we have like extra.
Now we've got Couve peak season,
Yeah.
which is a little different. So I actually had something I wanted to talk about. It's something that I think about fairly often, and it's brought to my attention fairly regularly. So I thought it might make for a fun episode, and that's work, and more importantly, being assertive. So I had, if nothing else, a couple of anecdotes I wanted to share. The thing that really brought this up most recently was, so I was at one of our locations and in the middle of counting money.
Mm-hmm.
And my phone apparently was going off. I wasn't giving a shit because I was in the middle of counting money
Right.
in a location where people have been shot.
Pay attention to. Yeah.
And so next thing I know, the owner who's standing next to me looks over, he's like, "It's your boss. He just wants to know why the hell you're not picking up your phone." And I'm like, because I'm balls deep in this money. And it felt like this was safety and not getting robbed was probably more important.
Right.
At which point my boss then proceeds to call my phone back. And I'm like, "Look, I'm in the middle of counting money. What do you want? Can I wait a few seconds?"
Yeah.
And then he proceeded to ask me a couple questions. And what transpired isn't really important. He kind of was like, "Okay," and then left and hung up. But the whole time, like during the exchange of her laughing her ass off.
Yeah.
Because she's just like, I've just never seen anyone talk to them that way.
I see.
And it is probably true. I don't try and ever be a dick to my boss, but I might even preface by saying that I love my bosses. They're very good people and have taken care of me in many ways more than they probably have to. Even as I told them that I'm always looking for the option to kind of self-employ myself. I'm trying to find a way to not be an employee of theirs anymore, but they still take good care of me.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I've always kind of made it a point to do is stand up for myself in a situation.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was safe to sit there on the phone, so I'm not going to spend all my time on the phone. I'm going to let you know, let me go so I can do the job that you hired me to do.
Right.
I know probably a year ago, I had a similar episode where my boss was micromanaging the shit out of me on a weekend. And eventually, like the 15th time, I'm like, look, what do you think? What do you think it says to me when you constantly call me on a work day? Like, what do you think that means? You don't have a reason to call me. The calls come to me. I take them. I write them down, and then I do them.
Mm-hmm.
So you calling me says to me that you don't trust me to do the job that you hired me to do. And frankly, if you don't trust me, you might as well let me go because I'm not going to work in those conditions. At which point, apparently, his son also said, yeah, you should probably stop calling him.
Yeah.
And maybe this is because I understand how difficult it would be to necessarily train someone to do what I do. Although they have done remarkably well in finding people that can do my job in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I am a little bit more, or arrogant about, my position than I should be. But when I find a job, and more importantly with this one than any prior to it, and I sign that contract, that's a two-way street.
Yeah.
That is saying, hey, we're agreeing that this is the way things are going to work. And sometimes things change, the over the course of the job itself has changed. We do spend more time on some things than others.
Mm-hmm.
And as things have changed, I have always made it clear what I'm comfortable with and what I'm not comfortable with. And when I used to have my old supervisor, back when we had a supervisor prior to the coup, now I think they just don't want to pay anybody extra, so they got rid of a supervisor. Me and him used to butt heads all the time because I'd say, well, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And if you need to fire me, fire me. But it's just not how this is going to work. I'm not comfortable in that situation. And he used to get livid about, don't threaten to quit every time. I'm like, it's not me threatening to quit. It's me saying that if this is not something that we can resolve as a pair of people in this situation, then just let me go and I'll look for something that's going to be better suit my interests.
Yeah.
Or at least, okay, well, I'll look for something new. This is a two-way thing. And if you're not comfortable, you have to let me know so I can find someplace that is going to better suit my needs as a workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And he just didn't seem to get it. But the fact of the matter is that, in a work situation, there's a partnership. You have, they need someone to do something with a certain set of skills, or certain abilities, and I need money. And we come to an arrangement that works out for both of us. It is, despite the commies out there, I hate saying commies, but I mean, the only people that can believe this isn't the case, that you'd have to be.
Right.
It's a voluntary situation. I can always go and do anything. And at a certain point, yes, I have to fend for myself and my food, but that's kind of like the natural state of being. I'm always fascinated by people who are like, well, why are there poor? They ask, why are there poor people in the world? And they don't ever ask the question, why are there wealthy people? Like, what's the difference? How did that happen? Like, it's not like humanity started with houses and cars and, iPods. That's something that has taken a lot of time to make. But it is my part in that, I choose to take on whatever job I take on. And I guess sometimes I'll talk to people occasionally and, give the anecdotes like I've just given, and people look at me like, how can you possibly talk to your boss like that? I'm like, well, I'm certainly not going to let them talk to me any other way.
Mm-hmm.
I've been very clear. Like I've been snipped at a couple times and given them sour looks so bad that they're like, okay, I'm gonna not do that then. Now, granted, vice versa. I have also gotten lippy with my boss and gotten a listen, motherfucker.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that was probably uncalled for. I'm sorry. And just for the record, in every case I've gotten that, it was definitely uncalled for. I was having a bad day and I took it out of my boss.
Right.
So I guess what I'm getting at, this has been kind of rambly because it really just wanted to relay a few stories, is that when you enter into any kind of work situation, you have to realize that you are the only person lobbying for you in that situation. So if you stop lobbying for you and your position and what you're comfortable with, you're always going to get walked all over.
Yeah.
I used to joke with people, there's no freer position than a second job.
Yeah.
Because with a second job, you can tell your boss to go fuck themselves all you want because it's not the important job. The first job is the one that pays your bills. The second job is just play money, And for me, it was always freeing in that, like, oh, no matter what this person says, and I've had some pretty bad second jobs, but it never bothered me. Like, they could never get to me because I just look at like, okay, I quit right now.
Right.
And having that ability and knowing that you have the ability to do that at any point in time is so freeing.
Yeah.
The bottom line is there are jobs out there. And if you have done some type of work to develop skills that make you useful in some way, you're going to find something. If for some reason anyone listening to this isn't in that position where they have some type of skills, contact me. We'll talk about it because you need to get some type of skills. That part of things is not going to be any easier moving forward. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Liz? I know I've been rambling a while.
Well, no, I mean, when you told me, some of those stories initially, I think I felt some sort of way about it. I felt a little kind of taken aback because I couldn't imagine having those kinds of conversations. But in the, intervening years, I've come to see that because you present yourself in a way that is honest and open, it's created the relationship that you have with your employers that I think is really healthy and is a partnership because, as you say, you can make those assertions on your behalf. They can make those assertions on their behalf. It feels like more of an even exchange.
Now, granted, I do work in a smaller company. I think we might have like 15 people in the company now. I know we've downsized a little bit since the coup happened. People went on unemployment and just probably aren't coming back anytime soon.
Yeah.
And I know the owner. I talk to the owner because that's specifically my boss, and his kid I talk to about Bitcoin because he's going to be the next boss once his dad's done.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly small operation, and maybe that gives me a little more leeway, I think, than other places to be because the boss knows me. Maybe I know it's definitely felt different in corporate environments that I've worked in before.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just because that was prior to me feeling the need to be more assertive for myself.
Yeah.
I think the assertiveness has definitely come with like the whole, I guess, libertarianism project with me.
Okay.
It has been like the world's greatest self-help seminar is just taking responsibility for myself.
Yeah.
Which, the whole idea of self-ownership, radical self-ownership or otherwise, is, well, no one's responsible for me. I'm going to do what I can for me. And I'm going to lobby for me whenever there's a chance to do so.
Yeah. And that makes sense. And even me, kind of watching your example and, just learning a lot about, self-respect, I guess, on my own, I've gotten to the point where, we were having our kind of unexpected ramp up because everybody's having things delivered. And I went into my boss and basically said, look, I realize that, this is the expectation for people as far as hours. This is what I need. What can we do about it? And I presented it in a very respectful way and tried to express that, yes, I understand that, you have your requirements, so you may or may not be able to, accomplish what I want, but I'm telling you
accommodate me.
Yeah, I'm telling you my wishes so that, we're all above board here. And I don't think I'm performing as well as I would if, I got what I needed out of this. So,
well, and the other thing that you come across, especially in your situation, is sure, maybe they have what they have to deal with, but they also have an incredibly high churn.
Yeah.
The turnover there is pretty ludicrous. So you have an employee that's been with you for years saying, look, this is not working out.
Right.
They tend to want to keep employees that show up and do good work for them when they're there. And you'll be amazed at what they can find
right
to accommodate someone. Like I remember point blank with my position, so this has changed a little bit since then, but about this time last year, I went to my boss and said, look, I'd been saying it for a couple months. I wanted to pursue music and make more money on my own and kind of do my own thing and maybe eventually phase myself out of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Then the coup happened and that all changed. But, my boss was more than willing to. I've worked there for years. There was no reason to outright fire me. So they went and found someone that could work full time and then they moved me to a part-time position. But that's because we'd had built that relationship and the understanding between us. I'm not here to screw you. I'm here to help you. That's what my job is to do for you. And if I've never not done something that my boss has asked me to do, I might tell them, look, this is a stupid idea to their face before I do it. But you want me to do it, I will do whatever stupid thing you want me to do, as long as it's not dangerous to myself. Any case that's ever been dangerous, I've just said, no, I'm not going to do that. But I think we covered this when we were talking about the whole self-esteem thing. And I don't think self-esteem is the important thing. I think self-awareness is the important thing.
Yeah.
Knowing what you bring to the table.
Yeah, and I think that does have a lot to do with it, yeah.
That's where your self-esteem, your quote-unquote self-esteem comes from. It's just understanding who you are and in the situation, what cards, who's playing. And, a lot of it's just paying attention and being knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
I spend a lot of time kind of trying to pay attention to what's going on around me. And, in the things that I lack, I try and find ways to amplify them myself.
Yeah.
If I need more skills, I'll try and find more skills. It reached a point, I think, in this job where I think I stagnated.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see a whole lot of growth for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as vertical growth goes, I mean, I'm not never going to be the son of the owner, so
Right.
there's only so much I can grow that way. But I can work on developing my skills and find ways to find more income outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a whole episode probably on what I'm coming to the conclusions I really just want to do for my life at this point.
Yes.
But that will be a whole episode. It will be a not Christmas themed episode, I guess.
Yeah. There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of all I wanted to say today. Being assertive is important, and you should look at every job you take as a partnership between two people who want something and have made an agreement.
And we'd love to have some conversation about this. Like we were talking about our experiences. Maybe there are other experiences out there.
I'm really curious to hear some of the best and worst exchanges between people and their bosses ever.
Yeah, I'm sure there are some doozies out there. So
I hope so, frankly. I love. I really, if nothing else, I want to see other people kind of nutting up and say, look, man.
Yeah.
So let's check out this next song, and then we'll get into the ending of the show. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, get another one down. Another one in the books.
Yep.
Would like to reiterate again. I'm sorry I've been so flaky on this. I've just been working so hard on, the free market screener shows and getting out all of the Anarchy in Spaces and the Year on Trees for this month. I've got to work on them even sooner.
Yeah.
I'm editing like 7 or 8 podcasts a week right now, which is a little bit much for me. So I'm going to ask, and I know the answer, but I got to ask because I'm going to hold you accountable to this since I got people listening.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Liz, what's going on in the gardening front?
Not too terribly much at the moment.
Yeah, way to soft pedal that.
Okay.
Not a goddamn thing. Because I know you sure as fuck haven't ordered anything.
I haven't ordered seeds. I honestly...
And there's still a pile of stuff in the backyard.
Well, I did actually do some straightening up when it was like warmer, which was, it's been a few weeks. So that was a few weeks ago. And then we had snow, so everything was buried.
That was wonderful. I loved it.
Yeah, no, it was gorgeous. The our turnips are still out there. I'm told that they're sweeter after, getting frosted or whatever. So
okay,
pull them up and check them out. And we have some of our plants inside, kind of overwintering. Our herbs, we'll see how many of them survive the winter. But yeah, that's what's going on. And honestly, I am really busy with work. And then we've got Christmas stuff that I'm trying to coordinate, and we're trying to coordinate our kind of end of the year wrap up preparation for the beginning of the year, which tends to be a lot slower at work. So there's just some things that I sort of prioritized over, the garden stuff, because I'm pretty sure I can do a lot of that stuff in January.
Well, we hope.
Yeah, well, I mean that.
As they continue locking down the nation around us.
I know it is what it is.
You say that, but
well, I mean, I definitely, if nothing else, I do have our saved seeds from this past year, and I have our seed stores from this past year. So there will be winter sowing, regardless of whether or not I purchase more plants. And I also sort of figured out what my priorities out as far as winter sowing need to be. Basically, the longer season fruits and vegetables. We had a lot of melons that we sort of put out and ran out of time to let them grow. So those are going to be the priorities as far as winter sowing. And we already have seeds for most of those. So I could get those started in January, and hopefully by the end of summer, we'll have actual fruit that we can consume next year. So
okay, I'm down.
Yep.
So how about on the homeschooling front? I know technically we're on a little bit of a break right now.
Yes, we are.
for the, because why not? If you're in peak season and we don't have to.
Yeah, we are on hiatus because peak season is bonkers. I'm really just concentrating on
How many hours you work last week?
60. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, and I realize that there are probably people out there who work 60 hours every week, and that is just not what we set our lives up for.
Well, we set it up to do that for 1 month out of the year.
Right, exactly. We're otherwise accustomed to having me at home, and so I spend, my 5 hours of conscious time at home, basically just trying to get quality time in with my family, let you know that I still exist. I know you exist. We love each other, and then I sleep and work. So,
Other than this, today is basically your one day off.
Yeah.
And I've seen you just today, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. Otherwise, it's literally like a hey on the way out to work or on the way back in from work, and that is all.
Pretty much.
So we have made some progress as far as setting ourselves up for actually having a holiday in the midst of peak season, and I am really excited by that.
Right on. Well, for everyone out there, head on over to peacefreaks.com for show notes and links to connect with us on your favorite social media. I will probably be on fewer social media. I just feel the need to get all that out of there.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think should be the social media that we kind of default to, the one that we should spend the most time on. If it's Facebook, I'm sorry, you will be sorely missed in the social media stuff.
Yeah.
If you like the show, please hit the subscribe button or, smash whatever buttons you're supposed to smash, wherever you're supposed to smash them. And if you want to help spread the word, you can like and share on whatever your preferred social media is. And I reiterate that this is huge because, we get no traction at all on any of the social media platforms. Like they're give me money or you're not going anywhere. Not even the people on your list that you've spent money to get to like you will know. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you want to do even better, please go and rate and review us on iTunes or whatever program you use. I don't know if you use Spotify or Audible. I saw that we're on Audible the other day.
Nice.
This is actually really good for the algorithms because it actually affects the charts and stuff like that.
Dope.
I'm not sure where we would show up in the charts, honestly, but I tweak it every now and again and see if one of them will actually show up better or not. Last, if you want to donate to us, head over to upgradetheshow.com. It helps offset the cost of running things because we pay for this out of pocket currently. Anything extra, if we manage to make enough money to pay for the show, that'll go into advertising so I can help grow the community. So more of us weird people with kids and families that are trying to do the best they can in life for themselves and be quote-unquote successful people. We take both fiat and crypto. If you're one of those weird libertarian types and you want to give us Bitcoin, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you just want to give us cold hard cash, that's fine too. So anyone who does any of the above will just send me a thing that says, hey, I did this thing. And you'll get a thank you and a shout out on the show. So if you're looking for some advertising for your thing, wink, wink, that would be a good way to get some free advertising out of us.
There you go.
So anyways, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Go and have yourselves a good one.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
This podcast is a proud creation of the Mad Audio Lab. For more information, check out madaudiolab.com. Peace Freaks is part of the Liberty Hippie Podcast Network. If you like what we do, be sure to check out Homesteads and Homeschools, Free Markets Green Earth, Cannabis Heals Me, and This Week in Liberpods. We're living proof that libertarian doesn't mean washed up Republican.